Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all feeling well and you're ready to take a look at our third question on the 2017 CSMC. Determine all real numbers x for which x to the 4 minus 3x cubed plus x squared minus 3x equals 0. So we need to sort of solve this quartic equation. Now, there is a formula, the quartic formula, like the quadratic formula, but it's quite messy. And if I recall correctly, it takes up about 2 pages, depending on how big your handwriting is. So it's not something that you're going to have memorized. People have the quadratic formula memorized. Some people have the cubic formula memorized, but certainly we have to approach this a different way. Okay? So what we're going to look for is maybe we can factor some things out, maybe break this down into 2 quadratics and then use that quadratic formula. Something I'm noticing, there's no constant term. So we can take out a factor of x. Okay? Now, this whole expression is equal to 0 if x is 0. Okay? Because if you have 2 things and they multiply to 0, one of those 2 things must be 0. This is one of the properties of the real numbers that we enjoy. Okay, now we've got a cubic here. Is there anything I can immediately see to do? And there's a couple approaches. If you know Descartes' theorem, you might be able to try and find some roots with guessing and checking. But there's something I'm noticing. It's one more power of x times 3 minus the next lowest power. And then power of x minus 3 times the next lowest power. Technically, this would be x to the 0, and this is x to the 1. So, power of x minus 3 times power of x. Power of x times 3 minus power of x. So what we might do is inside here, I might take out the x squared and the x minus 3. Okay. And now I can see, x minus 3 can be factored out. And we're going to be left with x squared plus 1. Okay? So in order for this expression to be 0, either x is 0, or x minus 3 is 0, but that would really mean that x is 3, or x squared plus 1 is 0. Now here we could try and use we could try and factor, we could try and use the quadratic formula, or experience might tell us that squares are never negative, but in order for x squared plus 1 to be 0, x squared would have to be minus 1. Right? Try and solve this, you'll have to have x squared as minus 1, and that doesn't happen, at least not for real numbers. So the only answers here are going to be x is 0 or x is 3. And we would put that in the box in the little booklet provided for our senior paper. And that does it for question number 3. So we'll move right on to question 4.